Everyone, John Wall and the Houston Rockets have agreed to a buyout, allowing John Wall to become a free agent. There was a lot of rumors and talks about what was going to happen with John Wall. He opted into his contract. They tried to trade him last year, but much like the Russell Westbrook situation, he just is paid so much for a guy that you don't really know what you're going to get with him. I mean, he was pretty solid with the Rockets. I mean, he had games where he was scoring 25, dishing out 8, 9 assists. He looked in brief stints that he could be the John Wall we know and love. Obviously, all of the injury history, things like that, is going to play a big role. But now that he opted in and is going to get a buyout, he will be able to sign with essentially any team he wants because he's going to get his money. So a team is going to get him on very likely a vet minimum deal or something along those lines. But it is being reported that John Wall already has his destination to which he plans on going. And that is the LA Clippers. That is correct. John Wall is reported to be signing with the Los Angeles Clippers as soon as the buyout is finalized, which makes a ton of sense for the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, you have pretty much everything that the Clippers could possibly need and want, except for that go-to point guard, that distributor, that facilitator. And John Wall would fit that perfectly. Not just that, but going to the Clippers, he doesn't have to be that guy. He doesn't have to be that number one guy anymore. He would be essentially, your third or fourth option on a team that is very likely the best team in the NBA, at least on paper. I mean, they are ridiculously stacked front to back, and I'm really curious to see what the Clippers are going to do this offseason because they have too much depth. And I think one of the big things that they need was a point guard that could distribute. So now you got John Wall. Now you're going to sign him for the vet minimum. You got Reggie Jackson as his backup. You are in a great position if you're the Clippers. But they could use another solid big man. And free agency, luckily, has nothing but big men this year. So that's hugely beneficial for the Clippers. But I almost feel like you're better off packaging, 3 guys and going and trading for like a mid-tier type of center. Maybe you give up some of your younger guys because you're in a compete now mode and you end up giving, say Man and Coffee plus, Marcus Morris, and you trade them for a Miles Turner, something like that. Get a solid starting center that can block shots, defend, all of those things. I think that would be hugely beneficial. He can always spread the floor, stuff like that. But this is a huge signing for the Clippers that already, like I said, have an insane amount of depth, an insane amount of talent. Front to back, they have the best roster. Does that mean that they're the best team and that they'll translate that way? Who knows? Especially with health. I mean, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard don't have the best injury history. They don't have the best, history of staying on the court and being able to be there night in and night out. You're going to get at least 20 plus games without Kawhi. Very likely going to get the same thing with Paul George. John Wall is that big question mark too. How effective is he going to be? Is he going to be that guy? But this is just such a huge, low risk, high reward type of move. You're getting a guy that very likely could be, a solid point guard in this league once again. He has the veteran experience. He has things like that. He hasn't played a lot of basketball in the last, 3-4 years, but he's still a guy that you don't need an all-star point guard, right? You don't need a guy that's going to come in and give you 30 a night in and night out. You just need a guy that can set up, play a little defense, be the distributor, maybe get to the hoop here and there. If they could get 10 points and 7 assists from John Wall night in and night out, that is more than you could ask for. That would be my thing to John Wall. Look, you're coming here. You're going to be the starter. All I need from you, just get me, 8 to 10 points and, 7 to 10 assists a night. Somewhere in there. If you can add a couple rebounds into it, maybe get me a steal or 2, that'd be awesome. But all I need from you is just, a handful of points. Just give me 2 or 3 baskets. Maybe get to the foul line a couple times. And then just, dish out some assists. Set up the other guys. Because we need somebody that can set up. That is perfect for John Wall. So I think him going to the Clippers is a huge pickup, not only for the Clippers, but for John Wall. It's a place where he can go and very likely win the championship. There's not many teams that are better than the Clippers if they're healthy. We saw how great they were without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Now, was some of that just, the belief and Ty Lue just kind of convincing everybody hey, we can do this, we can, and players overachieving? Very likely, but they still are very deep. They are still very stacked. And John Wall's going from a rebuild situation to a team that doesn't really want him to now a team that is going to heavily rely on him, I think, not in the sense of scoring and stuff, but like I said, just being that playmaker, being that facilitator, being that guy. And I do think John Wall could fit in there very nicely. I think he is going to have his games and his moments where it's going to be his time to shine. If Paul George or Kawhi Leonard sit out or both of them sit out, now John Wall's the guy. That game I could see him going out and getting 20. My biggest concern is still health. I think the only thing that's going to stop the Clippers this year is health. And that is from somebody that is not a Clipper fan. I am far from it. I am a Laker fan through and through. But I'm an NBA fan. And I'm somebody that talks about the NBA and somebody that talks about basketball and just sports in general. It's my job to be honest. And the truth is that, look, this team is insanely good, insanely stacked. Now, can they stay healthy and put all the pieces together? We'll have to see. We'll see how it plays out. But man, what a pickup for the Clippers. In all fairness, in all seriousness. I mean, I'm curious to see what this year is going to do. If they can stay healthy, I don't see anybody in the West beating them in a 7-game series. Even Golden State, as great as Golden State is, they weren't a world beater. They weren't a team that was just so terrifying. They just looked unbeatable. Everybody in the West this past year, although health and things like that were a factor for pretty much all the teams, but nobody looked like that team that was just monstrous in the West, where it was how are you going to stop them? We're not talking KD with the Warriors. We're talking, even the Phoenix Suns, extremely underwhelmed. And this is huge for them. As always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about John Wall going to the Clippers? Are you excited for this? Are you not? Do you think, talk about an unfair team? I mean, you got 3 guys that could realistically give you 20 points a game. John Wall is still a huge question mark, but he had games with the Rockets where he was putting up 20 points a game, things like that, and he was pretty much one of their primary scorers. So I think we're going to have the good games and the bad games with John Wall. He's definitely going to have to get his legs underneath him and stuff like that. But I could see come playoff time, John Wall is just, he could be a stud for them. I don't think he's ever going to be the Washington Wizards John Wall. I don't think he's ever going to be that, arguably best point guard in the league John Wall. But I do think, but you don't need that if you're the Clippers. You just need a guy to come in and just do the little things, set guys up, all of that stuff. I just think health is their only obstacle because you got 3 guys that are your front and center of your team that don't have the best injury history. But again, I would love to hear, are you excited? Are you not? Do you think this moves the needle at all? Do you think that, John Wall, he's not going to be able to do anything? It has been some time. But either way, let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.